Greetings, YouTube. It is late. It is past midnight. Actually, by the time this finishes, it'll be past 12:30 a.m. But if you know my schedule normally, and this is not a normal week for me, I teach and grind the arena and answer emails and do a little live streaming on Mondays and Thursdays all day. Don't have a chance to check my line messages. I don't put out any breaking news when it happens because in this case, with the Alliance Quest Season 9 and Map 8, November 19th, 2021 announcement, as well as, for those of you wondering, the beta test invitation I received, like so many of you else that messaged me. I just haven't had a chance to make this video. But I am going to make this now, because it is a tremendous change. This is a huge bit of news, especially for Corvus players, and we will explain as the video progresses. First off, new and exciting things coming our way. Map 8, layout and leak node mapping, new types of crossfight buffs that reward you through skilled play, lane killer crossfights, boss killer crossfights, multiple final bosses, improved lane identities that'll test players' knowledge and skill. They're just trying to milk the whales, right? Some repeated lane identities to open more browsers, Map 8 link node mapping, removal of the Corvus timeout method for Map 8 only for now. Okay. This is a huge, huge deal. Do not let Kabam just casually say removal of the Corvus timeout method for Map 8 only for now, because what this is a test to see how mad players are. And if players don't really put up as much of a fight, they're just going to say, okay, the next patch, the whole timeout method, regardless, is outlawed. Which would be problematic enough given that it's been years since Corvus came out, and the timing of this is a really, really dumb thing. But in addition to that, and I'm going to do a separate video over this because it's been the most requested video all month, the amount of game crashes that are going on right now are historic. My game crashed 6 times in 20 minutes today. 6 times in 20 minutes, or about once every 3 minutes. So you're telling me that the timeout method is going to be banned, and yet my game's crashing in every kind of mode. And look, I know I don't have the newest iPhone, but I've got an iPhone 10. That's newer than quite a few people. All right, Map 8 Supernova. We are maintaining the regular 3-section map layout with varying numbers of paths for each section. We'll be maintaining the same number of mini-bosses for the first 2 sections, but we'll have 2 final bosses in the third and last section. Portals will break up each section, and the symmetrical layout is designed to be straightforward and fairly easy to understand. With each playthrough, you'll be able to try out different champions that utilize the lane boss killer CFs to overcome the lane or boss challenge. Below is the map layout. Now look, I have no doubt, as people who love Alliance Quest and Alliance War for difficulty, some people will love this. I am not one of those people. I do not plan on leaving Map 5 as long as I can. I love Map 5. It's easy. It's stress-free. I can do it when I want, and I'm not going to hold up my lines. Look at all this information. Whew! That spider web of purple lines is quite fascinating. This looks like its own Disney villain to me. Like a super knit Disney villain, if you were to do like a cross-stitch. Crossfight buffs utilize the benefits of 2 new buff types, Lane Killer and Boss Killer crossfights, to help you overcome Map 8's challenges, as well as multiple final bosses. God. Look at all of this info. Boss Killer crossfight. Each time the defender fills a bar of power, the attacker gains a passive energize, increasing their combat power rate by 100% for 7 seconds. The effects of this node occur in the next 1 fights, but not this current fight. Overwhelm. Striking the defender or hitting their block builds the attacker's overwhelm meter by +1. Blocking, dashing backward, or standing still reduces the meter by 1. That sounds stressful. Overthrow. Each bar of power spent by the attacker grants +1 overthrow charge up to a max of 6. Each time a charge is gained, the attacker becomes passively unblockable for 2 seconds per charge. Lane Killer crossfights. Visionary. Sufferance. Kinetic shielding. Missing fixations. Shocking. I'm telling you, you could spend a whole day reading all this and still not know what the heck's going on. We're skipping ahead pretty fast because Lord knows we don't have time to read all of this, and I am not going to attempt it, especially at 12:30 at night. Shared path identities are any paths that multiple lanes intersect into or out of. I think it should say or and not our out of. Each direction that a player will choose to go for map 8 will lead to a different shared path identity. Shared path identities have less of a requirement to overcome the challenge and will provide more of a raw challenge than lane identities, which usually require more of an RPG-specific challenge. Now look, some people view Alliance Quest as fun challenge, whatever. I don't. I view it as a necessary evil to get glory, to rank up my champions. And I'm guessing a lot of people watching this are nodding their head right now, right? You do the same fights, you hopefully don't spend units or items or revives, you make it to the boss, and you just do it to get your glory. You do it to get some map crystals, but mainly to purchase tier 2 alpha, tier 5 basic. Like, that's how I rank up my champions. I don't care about the challenge of Alliance Quest. In fact, I want it to be really easy because I just want those rewards. I just want glory with as little stress as possible. That's why I do Alliance Quest. It's not to be like, oh, let's have some fun with hard content today. That is not me. Maybe that's you watching this, and if so, good for you, but it is not me. Repeated lane identities. God, there's so much information. Look at this. We're like halfway through this post. This is like a dissertation. Radiant combustion, scientific prevention, scientific combustion, scientific escapades, say uncle. Kabamboo, repurpose mini and final bosses from previous seasons. Let's see how my map 5 is going to change, shall we? Mini boss, Guillotine 2099. I actually hate fighting Guillotine 2099. Mini boss, Human Torch. Gotta bring in Red Hulk. Morning Star. Final boss, Nameless Thanos. Okay. I enjoy fighting Nameless Thanos. Map 6, My Prom Date, Invisible Woman. Ebony Coleslaw. Ooh. Vision Arcus. Also hate that guy. Spider-Man 2099 is a final boss. Map 7, Annihilus. Sasquatch. Magneto, House of X. Penny Parker. That also is going to suck. Map 8. Nimrod. Spider-Man 2099 is a final boss 1. Penny Parker, final boss 2. You gotta love that the map entry costs are map 7 and map 8 only, right? Map 6 is 0. That's pretty cool. This is the big controversy, because we've already gone through this. As mentioned in the past, there has been a long-standing bug in the game where some champions were able to survive a timeout. This is not a game mechanic that was ever intended, but we left it in the game due to player reaction at the time, and still currently, Kabamboo. Players made it clear that the reason that they used this was that they didn't feel like they had the options to address the lanes needed. That ain't true! They did it so they didn't have to spend units! Come on now. So they resorted to using Corvus in this method. This behavior breaks the intended game flow, aka breaks our bank accounts, as players were reaching completely out of gameplay to circumvent the rules of the game. Pausing and quitting a fight are not gameplay mechanics. But you know what sucks though? This may not be game mechanics, but if the game crashes when the game is in the middle of Alliance Quest or Alliance War, you are punished. So, I don't know what the solution is, but as long as the game's crashing during fights, this is a really terrible timing. This is just awful, awful timing. But if players wanted to avert any risk at all, they would use the Corvus cheese, like they're talking about Wisconsin's, right? Regardless of the fact that there had been many new champions added to their roster that are much better counters for the content on the map. Again, that's not why they're doing this. They're doing this so they don't have to spend units or potions or revives, because he's awakened, and so he's not going to die. Duh. This led to players feeling the gameplay is stale or takes too long. That's also not true, even though there were intended counters available to them that would help them play the content in a fresh way and much quicker. Who sits at their computers like, I don't want to use Corvus. He's stale. Let's do something fresh and quick. What is this, a microwave? With the addition of the boss and lane killer cross-fight abilities, we are giving alliances the tools necessary to deal with the challenge of lanes regardless of the champion you are using. Now that those additions have been made, Map 8 will not allow any champion to survive a timeout when at very low health. For the time being, you will still be able to survive a timeout in Maps 7 and below, but we will be changing those in the future as well. Again, for now was the keywords. This is absolutely horrible timing. It would be bad timing, to be clear, no matter what it or when it happened. But the game is crashing so much. You are punishing players for doing something they've been doing for years, legally, even if it is a bug. But when the game crashes, and look, I get for now they're still giving weekly compensation for Alliance Quests and Alliance War revives and potions, but how long is that going to last? Regardless, you're punishing people and taking out 50% of their health when the game crashes. Because you look at it as quitting the game, even though it's not. And that is unbelievably frustrating. So, look, this is terrible timing, especially because this is also coming at the heels of Cyber Weekend at the end of November, right? Like, shouldn't your goal to be kind of like the gold pull, Deadpool trade-in gold event for 6-star crystals and rank up items? Shouldn't it be to do things like that to make the player base happy? I just think this is so tone deaf. So tone deaf. Wait to do this in like 2022. But at the end of 2021, nah, dog. Can't support this. Am I overreacting? Am I being what my nickname has been for years, long before the champion was introduced? Am I being too Mr. Negative here? I just feel like as long as the game continues to crash, you're punishing players for that when, especially in Alliance Quest and Alliance War, and yet now not giving them a method to circumvent something. What timing, YouTube? I had to make this video before bed. I know it's really late, but hey, the beauty of having a globally recognizable YouTube channel is that it might be late in the United States, but it might be early in the morning across the pond. So good morning, everybody, if you're watching this, or good afternoon, whatever time you clicked on this. Thanks for doing it. I look forward to reading your comments. Now I'm going to attempt to go to bed because I will not be broadcasting a live stream for the next few days as I'll be driving to a wedding in Missouri.